there is also this very troubling question that we have about what they're doing by filming the protesters or filming the people who are monitoring the ICE agents with that viral video of the guy saying, well, now we're putting you in our nice little database. From what you understand, what are they going to do with these? I mean, are they actually going to put protesters, and this is the fear, in a database of potential enemies of the state? And there are, stories about people not being able to use global entry or things like that because they're on some kind of list. Is there any way to really understand how the administration is compiling all of this information that it is gathering on Americans and on migrants and on people it has deemed enemies?
Yeah, I think you're right to hone in on that. And the answer is we don't know. And for all the talk, the incessant talk about how transparent and open Donald Trump is, that's, because he's just talking constantly in front of a camera. But that is not at all synonymous with actual government openness and transparency and accessibility. So I was actually watching a congressional hearing the other day. I'm sure you saw some of it, a very contentious hearing with Pam Bondi, the attorney general, which, she basically refused to answer all questions that were at all put to her by Democrats and simply attacked the questioner. But one of the questions actually was about this: is there a database? And she actually denied that there was. And does that mean there isn't? I don't know. I don't know. But we're not receiving basic information anymore from many of these agencies about how they're functioning, what they're doing with information. A lot of previously public information, by the way, has disappeared from various government websites. And so, I think it was the New York Times that reported the other day that there was, in fact, this data collection effort against protesters and the Department of Homeland Security. There's also the question of what the State Department has been doing in trying to block people from coming to the United States on the basis of their speech, and combing through social media accounts of people who are applying for visas or seeking to enter the country. And we're all familiar, of course, with this really upsetting example of the Tufts graduate student last year who was, seized by masked armed agents off the streets, apparently because of her authorship of an op-ed in the Tufts student newspaper that the Trump administration doesn't like. Well, of course, that's actually not a reason to treat anyone that way. And a federal judge subsequently ruled. And ask a child and they can tell you, yes, the First Amendment, applies to everybody in our country. And it's otherwise we wouldn't be a free country.
Join us next week when military historian and Washington Post columnist, yes, he's still with the Washington Post, Max Boot, will be in conversation with Larry Diamond about the future of Venezuela.